Hello, Eurovision fans. My name is Euan. My pronouns are he, him. Joining me today is the lovely.
Hi, I'm Kittens. My pronouns are she, her.
And today we're going to be discussing Lithuanian Eurovision. We already had a first video beforehand. Now we have all the songs. We're right before the final, so we're going to be discussing the finals for this year's Eurovizija. So, kittens, five semi-finals. We've had 45, well, technically 44 or 46 songs, depending on how you want to count it. What are your overall thoughts this year?
I mean, I maintain my original thought from the original one. This is not a tight enough process. Um, I do think we've had some absolute gems out of this. And I do think there's been some songs that have missed out, possibly just by luck of you were in the wrong heat.
Mhm.
Um, but you know, 5 weeks is a lot. 9 songs in each heat to get to plus our bonus two wildcards that we didn't know we were having out is a big jump. Um, so I think I nothing that I said in the earlier pre-video about that has, I think, changed significantly. It just feels like it could do with some slimming down, in my personal opinion. I'm sure there's some people who absolutely love this, Ewan. And there being 1 million candidates.
I mean, I like it. There's a great mix in those 45 songs, well, 44, whatever songs. Um, there's some amazing ones, almost all of which were left in the semi-finals, though. You just talked about those wild cards, which these were never part of the selection. This was just randomly announced by LRT later on because so of like the top sort of five acts that have went through in terms of televote of the 10 that were already in the final. One of them, Catharsis, got 2,507 televotes. The first place was Black Biceps with Visag Manlik, and third place was Liepa with Armilitum at 2,218 votes. Uh, those last two did not make it to the final. So the entire voting system of 45 songs, your first and third highest televote, do not go through, then it is a terrible system. You're saying it's you're saying it's not really tight enough though. I think it's too the whole thing is too restrictive. Like they've five semifinals of nine songs with two going through just doesn't work because you're just ending up with too many
Oh, I
being
agree.
too
I
yeah like
agree
it,
with you on that. The amount of songs going through per per heat is wrong in the first place because it's just too low a number.
it would make sense for those numbers going through if they were voted on as a 45. If these were five presentation shows, which I don't know, the jury knocks out five, and then when you've got a top four, and then two go through in the televote each, maybe something. Sorry, and then they decide for the whole selection, like okay, here's pick 10 songs of the remaining ones and do a big vote that way. Something like that would work. But if you're going to have that many songs, you need to have more than one round, or it just doesn't work because you're ending up with so many great things just being left. Because realistically, when you look at those 12 songs in the final, there's only three that I would say are good. There's a lot of half-baked stuff.
We're gonna have a lot of differences on how good works. But
Well,
I
because
mean,
for instance,
I
you're a
get
fan of Liepa, right?
exactly. Yeah, I do because I'm a bangers person.
It's good, but it's half-baked, and there's so many others like Anyanya with Running Out of Time. That's half-baked as well. There's no, it's a concept. There's no real full finished song there, and there's so many songs in this final that are like that. So I would say realistically, um, Goya, Catharsis, and Petunia are the only ones with a full concept vision of a song. Everything else, because Eurovisia is not a,
We're
it,
gonna
it's not.
differ on these.
it's not a national final of okay, here's the thing, we're going to do a revamp like in a month's time and it's going to be fantastic. These are the finished products. This is what we're expecting on the Eurovision stage. And I would say 9 of these songs are not ready to be on a Eurovision stage.
See, this is the thing that bothers me about Lithuania having this many songs. I would rather you had 20 or 30 songs and every one of those is 100% ready. Like, all of that extra effort goes into making those smaller set of songs 100% on it, rather than this long stretched out thing where so few people actually qualify. Um, it seems unfair.
Mhm.
It just feels unbalanced. And if you redistributed that and had, say, two or three semi-finals with, say, 10 songs each, with three or maybe four going to the final from each one, it would just feel better. It would feel like the artists have more of a chance for a
Mhm.
start, and also would give them space to do a really genuinely good presentation. I
Mhm.
mean, the one thing that I've noticed when watching through these is obviously some artists have like big, gigantic staging ideas. They have clean cut camera shots. They have, this huge, this kind of idea of exactly what they want on that stage. And some people are just, I'm a man standing on the stage, and that's it.
Maro
And
Eunice.
I wasn't going to call them out, but and
It
it's
worked in 2023. It did not work this time around.
I mean, I'm not saying everybody needs to have flashy staging necessarily, but if your staging isn't flashy, your camera cuts need to be tight, your lighting needs to be good. There are ways to make things work that aren't necessarily, oh, I need to bring 51 props. Because I'm not advocating that everybody has a massive the bluest bell style garden. Um, but I think you just need to be so much tighter if you are just going to be man on stage with guitar. And you just need to have that 100% accurate because every little bit of that is going to be scrutinized because you're a man on stage with a guitar. Um, there is nothing to distract people with. So I would rather a smaller amount of finals, a smaller amount of songs, but with more concentration put on those artists and more given to those artists to give them more.
Mhm. I I don't trust LRT to pick just 20 songs that are good. I would love them. Is it sort of a mix between what you're saying is say in November have like an audition round
Yeah,
of those 40 songs and narrow it down to 20 because as a whole, the staging and everything is so much better this year than it has ever been. But yeah, it doesn't make it's like or I don't know what if the artists are paying for these ones and that's why some of them have so flashy, but like you're saying about the camera work, that shouldn't really be affected by this. LRT should be slick with this because it's all pre-recorded as well. It's not a live show.
yeah. So they got no
Um,
excuse on that. Like, there are some people who have done in this excellent camera work. There are some people who have done on this great and what I imagine is relatively inexpensive staging. But it just requires that little bit more fine tuning and effort, I guess. Um,
mhm.
you know, mm,
Like if you compare like the camera work for Catharsis, which is fantastic. I understand you don't like the song,
I don't
but the
like the song that much, but equally, I'm not a big fan of that as
mhm,
like a person. Like, I just wouldn't listen to it. But I do love what is being done with it, and that sense of doom and sorrow
mhm.
that
But
is
then yeah,
portrayed in that performance.
but then you compare it to like another band, or well, not band, but there are other performers on stage with Mattis Liega with Sauli. Like it was just a mess. and they didn't know how to showcase it, and it's disappointing. I think, yeah, the two-stage system needs to either go, if they're going to have this many songs, and they need to go back to a three-stage one, or they need to just shrink it down massively because it's just not working. So of the two that were brought into the final as the wild cards, I find it interesting though because of those ones they were clear because that's the second and third highest televote in the entire show. I didn't like it, the ditties with Zoe Zubir, but the ditties also got a higher televote than Amaralu, Gibrasi, Petunia, Yusta Baradulinita, Anyanya, and I believe Sophie Ali. Yeah. Sorry, no, just under Sophie Ali. So like you could have had another one in there. And again, it's something different, but this random wild card at the end
that
with
we did
if they
not
don't
know was coming.
if they'd said from the start, it's like, yeah, the two highest televote ones are going to make it into if they didn't make it beforehand. So like that would have been something, but it's like why stop there when the ditties clearly have the right to be there over some of the other ones? Because the voting system and the combined Eurovision one is just not working.
It doesn't it doesn't seem fair to the artists. I mean, it's nice to that that some people have that second chance to get through. Like I'm not like getting in on those two acts who got through, but it feels like somebody's changing the rules halfway through the competition, and I know they have every right to change the rules halfway through the competition, but it just feels slightly unfair to the artists. It
Hmm.
feels like it feels like a little bit like desperation. Like, oh, we didn't get the answer we wanted, so we're gonna just add in something more. And I don't know, maybe I'm sure there's something like bigger behind this that I don't understand, but I don't know. And I really like the two artists that have come through in the wildcard. Like both of those songs.
I mean, that's
Um,
my fourth and my fifth place in for the whole thing. But it's just Black Biceps got five times as many televotes as Gibrasi
mm,
and didn't get through.
yeah. And this is the problem with heat systems.
Non-proportional it's the problem with non-proportional televotes as well.
Yes, absolutely. The how it works is it still makes my head spin every time. I'm
Hmm.
like, oh God, how is this working now?
Yeah, especially because the jury takes precedence over the televote. So that's why Black Biceps didn't go through the first time because Gibrasi got 12 with the jury, and 8 with the televote, while Black Biceps got the reverse. So Gibrasi went through. It's although that was weird because you also go out with 10 and 10, so it's like there was 3 of 20. So yeah, the whole thing just it doesn't work. But moving on to the 12 songs themselves, it, it's I will say it's a nice mix. There's a good mix of genres there, of styles. So I think in that way they have done really well with this. We're definitely lacking some other interesting ones. I mean, just going back there, Rotobuda Rakaita with Thaikor Namai from the first semi-final.
Hmm.
That was fantastic, weird, and amazing, and it should have been in there. Same with Queen of Roses with Type, like bangers, and there's that throughout the entire semi-final system. Like you're the one by Houston, but no, if you have any of those to say them now because we'll probably just continue to rant on.
Uh,
Any?
just Joseph June. I'm just gonna say Joseph June because that ended up on my playlist instantly. Yeah, there were a few others that I can't remember off the top of my head, but you know,
I mean, I would
that
have definitely had Josephine over Amorello. Yeah, the 12 songs. So should we just go from 12th to first, just because run through our 12? So what was your
yeah,
12th
let's go.
place?
I mean, my 12th place is Cassasis, but not because I don't think it's good. I think it is really, really, really well done. It's just not something that I would personally listen to. It's not
The
my
woman with
vibe.
cat ears doesn't like sad, angsty rock.
I mean, I do. I love the presentation. Like, I did the reaction for this one, and you just saw this. You just see this guy just in absolute agony. Like, and it, even not knowing any Lithuanian, you got that story straight away of just this like overwhelming emotion. And there is something so good to be said for that.
Mhm.
Like, if you sent that to Eurovision, you can imagine that the crowd would be getting that even just without any English at all. You know, there is a definite market for that kind of song. I am not it, but that doesn't mean anything in that context, you know, that yeah, I think it's a really good example of what it is. Just because I'm
And
not the market for it doesn't mean anything.
for all the reasons you've described, that's why it's my first place.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your 11th? Because we're going in reverse here.
Oh, are we going reversed by
I think
my
I
reverse as
yeah,
well?
because I think we're essentially flipped for the most part. Yeah. So what's your 11th place?
Oh God, you're going to make me pronounce these. Tired?
Hmm. Bye.
Juste bara du Linite? Is that even close?
It's close enough. Um, that's my 7th place. I think it's very sweet. There's something lacking to it though. Like it's a sweet number. I do not understand how this beat everything else in that semi-final to be able to actually come through. I, I mean, what really more can you say about this one?
I, I will echo almost everything you said. There, it is perfectly good, and it is good at what it does. It's just not my thing. Like, it is a beautiful twee little ditty, and yeah,
Hmm. What about your 10th?
you're just doing this so well. You're
Yeah.
doing this so I pronounce everybody, aren't you? But anyway, it's Gibrassi. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, the chorus is amazing. The chorus is so good, but everything around it just feels so half-baked.
Yeah, it just feels a little unfinished, which is weird for something called whole.
Hmm.
Um, it just feels a little undercooked, and I am not like a ballady person, admittedly, but equally, I don't think this was a great example of a like ballady thing.
Eh, I like Gabrassi, but he needs to come with something great rather than just something.
It didn't make a lot of impact on me.
Mhm. Okay, what about your next one?
The Bluest Spell by Sophie Ali.
Yeah, this one, it's so sweet. It's so Daniel bait.
It's so sweet. Like the staging is probably arguably one of the best stagings we have
Mhm.
this year. It is a wonderfully complete staging. And the other thing is that she's really into that stage as part of that staging. She's not like separate from it. She's
Yeah.
so integrated into it, and it works so well that yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. It's not the thing I'd kind of listen to,
Mhm.
but visually what a treat, and she sounds beautiful, and I love that she's, the whole package on this.
Yeah, like it that is my 6th place. And I think it's for sweet for all the and it looks such great polish to the performance. But at the same time, should Lithuania be represented by an early 2010s American pop song?
There will
Mm.
definitely be a market for that. That's the thing. Like, this is a really marketable, really radio friendly track.
But is it so radio friendly that it will just get lost? I
Quite possibly. I
Yeah, I
mean,
couldn't see that as a qualifier,
it
which says something because it's Lithuania is in the semi-final with the UK and Ireland, and it's not a very good Eurovision year.
So far.
Eh, okay, your next one.
Oh, you want to rant about this one, don't you?
Oh, I don't know what this is.
Amoralu with freedom.
This is like capacity. It's a great. Why does it take so long to get into the actual the essence of it? Because it takes a fully 2 minutes before you're hitting that point. It's like so then by the
Yeah,
last like minute, it's just meh. So that's why I
you
have
just
it
want that
eighth. Yeah,
stretched out. Like it needs to come in at like 1 minute.
yeah.
It's
There
like
could have been there's some this is like one of the ones that's half baked because there could have been something here, and that's why I have it eighth.
like all the components are there. They're just not arranged correctly.
Mm,
It's slightly infuriating because you just feel like you just feel like with a bit of reproduction, this whole thing would be like 10 times better.
yeah. Okay. You're next.
Running Out of Time by Anyanya.
So I have Anyanya 10th. Why have you got that there?
I mean the one thing I really have with this entry is I really like his voice.
Mhm.
Like it's got that richness to it that I really vibe with that just feels good when you hear it. And although I think the song is borderline, I think his voice just adds so much to it that it just feels really nice.
I kind of don't like it for that reason because then you've got all of these great elements, but when it comes together, it's sort of lacking any soul or emotion to it. For a song like Running Out of Time, you'd think there'd be a bit more there, and I'm just getting nothing. Because for me, something that's half baked is more annoying than something that's just completely bad.
Because you see the potential in it and you're
Yeah.
just like, "Mm, just another bit more push would have done it."
Mm. And you're next.
After Storm by Goya? Is that how you
I,
say
I mean, this is my third place. This is one of the only three ones that I think is good.
it? I mean I liked this. Like, don't get me wrong. We are solidly getting into the ones that I actually like now.
Mhm.
Like actively like. I like this. I just wanted it to kick in just a little bit more and have just a wee bit on it.
I love this and the sound of this. Just it's in your face, but stripped back, but minimalist, but like maximalist. And I don't know how to explain it. But the one thing I don't like is her diction. I have it's at times impossible to know what the hell she's talking about, and I'm still
Yeah.
not 100% sure I actually understand the lyrics. Yeah. So your next one.
I
What
this
number is this? Are we at?
so this is five.
Your fifth place.
I'm just gonna give a viewer spoiler. This is also Ewan's 12th place, but I
Oh,
really like it. It's just
to be
Take Me
fair,
on a Date by Noi.
I don't even dislike it. It's just the fact that he sounds so out of breath and struggling with a song that is not difficult. So again, it
I
feels very musical theater, and I mean that derogatorily.
see, I was like, it feels very musical theatre, not derogatory. I mean, I love the staging and the camera work for this. I think it's very clever. The staging it isn't big, it isn't fancy, it's just done very cleverly. And I like that. And the song is stuck in my head, like still, like I haven't properly listened to these for like a few weeks, like since it came out, and I can still like the chorus is stuck in my head. I think there's something to be said for that with a potential Eurovision song.
I let's be real. That's not a potential Eurovision song.
All of the songs are a potential Eurovision song, Erin. Come on.
Okay. But yeah, you're fourth place now.
I'm gonna definitely say this one wrong. Lion Checker?
I actually have no idea how you're meant to pronounce
Okay.
this. Like, let's just call him Alan Chico because
Um, yeah, this one took me on a journey.
it took me on one as
I,
well because it's my 11th place.
yeah, I, if this was to get chosen, I would be absolutely, recommending personally a revamp, because I think it is messy, but it's very enjoyable. And
It could remain messy and still be something, but there's just the opening is fantastic with the two women singing at the start.
the
But then when
drama.
he starts singing, it's like, oh, this goes off a bit. Like it needs some a bit more consistency, and then to get messy towards the last bit, and it could really work. But in its current state,
I mean, the thing that kind of annoyed me was the bridge where it has that like electronic breakdown, because I don't feel like that properly fits in with it as well as they might think it does.
like a more subdued one, it
Yes,
could yeah, it could work, but there's
it's
good
a bit
elements, but yeah.
too cut and shut for me.
Mhm,
They've just pulled something out here and pushed something in there, and it's a bit too stark, for my liking. But I do think it's got some good stuff to it. It just needs a little bit more time in the oven.
mhm. So your third place, are we at now? Three?
We are at three, and this is the Euan Kittens convergence zone, because both me and Ewan have this as our number three. It's Isaldama by Petunia. Is that even slightly right?
Yeah, we'll go with it. See, can completely contrary to what we've just said about Drobe, I feel this could be messier and you could add so much to it.
Yes, this is the one thing about this one is I think it could just have that bit more punch.
Hmm.
I think it's still an enjoyable listen and an
Oh yeah.
enjoyable watch. Like, don't get me wrong, like on its own, but I think they could just dial up the drama.
Yeah, like this is ready to go, but if they really want to have the impact, at those louder points, just have her go absolutely wild and just go completely raw.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good example of what Lithuania do best as well, I think, of having something that is, well, it just feels different from what other people bring to the competition a bit. You have that kind of folky style, and then you have this kind of like, I don't, my brain is just blocked trying to describe the genre. Uh, but yeah, no, I think it's impressive. It's impressive. I'd be really happy to see it go.
Mhm. And what about your second place?
I mean, we've mentioned them already, but Liepa with Armulatum.
Mhm. Like the main body of the song is fantastic with the way that it's like this early 2000s Euro dance trashy number, but they don't commit to it.
I mean, I saw it more towards like 2010s EDM
I
than,
mean, but to be fair, 2010s EDM is very much
well,
also
when
early 2000s
yeah, but I
Eurodance.
I do think there's something a little bit more modern to it.
But either way, it's still a
I
throwback in one way or the other.
Yeah, I do think
Yeah.
that the staging could do with a little bit of work, but it's playlisted.
So that means that your first place is
Black Biceps with
with
beside Manrake.
that'll do.
They say it enough times in the song. Maybe that's even close. I don't know. Um, this is just a lot of fun. It's silly, affectionate. It reminds me a lot of silly, chanty, drunk songs at Eurovision, which is a great category. This is not a slight. Um, but like the kind of songs that if you put them in front of a Eurovision audience, they will be chanting it by the second chorus,
Yeah.
and doing the conga by the bridge. And
But it's so difficult to actually do that and have something that's still polished because it doesn't
yes,
feel just like a hot mess that's been done in 10 minutes and they've just thrown something together, as with quite a lot of other Eurovision songs this year where that sort of fun attempt at fun, and even previous years. So the fact that they've managed to do this, that's why this is my fourth place.
yeah, I think they, especially with like the visuals on the back screen as well. Like
Mhm.
there is something there's something so complete and so much fun about this that you could just take that off the stage and put that on a Eurovision stage,
Yeah.
and I think it would just work.
I think because it's
Um
quite simple, like they've not thrown a million elements in trying to be fun and wacky and kooky. They've just letting the song be as in itself.
yeah, it's just a joy for 3 minutes, and the silly little dance, and the fact that you've got this kind of call and response type chorus.
Mhm.
The whole thing is just very silly, affectionate. Like, I don't mean that as shade in any way. Um, and I kind of love that you've got, we were talking about the variety that we've got in this final, and you've got this incredibly dark, heavy, like big emotional song from like Catharsis, and you've got this incredibly light, silly, chantable song from Black Biceps at the two ends of my spectrum. And there's something magnificent about both of them, don't get me wrong. Um, but I know which one I'd rather personally be spending my 3 minutes with.
Mhm. So we can continue, we can rant about these songs continually, but I think it's an important thing. Who do we think are going to be in the three songs in the super final? Prediction time.
I mean, I feel like it would be hard for Catharsis not to be in it.
Yeah, because they've strong televote, strong jury vote. Because for those that don't know, the three songs in the super final are decided 50% jury, 50% public. So Catharsis, almost definitely.
So I feel like Catharsis are pretty certain. I would like to see Black Biceps in there. I
I
would
don't know
like,
if they're going to get the jury votes to be able to get, because they could end up with
yeah,
zero jury points.
but I think Petunia would be my other kind. So I would like to see Black Biceps there, but I don't know if they'll make it. But I
Mhm.
think Petunia would be the other one that, with Catharsis, that I would see. Yeah, just proceed straight to super final. Do not pass go.
Yeah, it's hard to say with these ones because there is such a massive difference in voting between the semi-final and final. But it's like 10 times as many votes. And some of these songs have really not had a lot of votes. That third one, because I agree with those first two, that third one, I maybe could see like Liepa, but you could also see like Lian Keka or Sophie Ali just randomly make it as well.
Yeah,
And when it comes to the actual winner of Eurovizija.LT 2025,
I feel like it might be Catharsis's to lose.
I think it's going to be Petunia. I don't think I feel like Catharsis, if this were a straight one round show, Catharsis would have it. But a super final with no juries, just pure televote. The people that will dislike the songs like Catharsis and Tavo Akkus, there's enough time
Yeah,
for them to like overshadow them and get rid of it. So that's why I think it's probably going to be Petunia.
I could definitely see Petunia being the winner as well.
Hmm.
And I think I'd be. I am not normally a enjoyer of Lithuania, but I've kind of enjoyed following along with it this year. And while not everything that comes out of it has been good, there's probably been like one song per final, sometimes two songs per final, where I've been like, yeah, these are pretty outstanding.
Mm. Well, I have gone with the fact that I am Lithuania's biggest Eurovision fan, Stan. And I've hated every second of this since it
You
started.
you really have.
So watch them pick my favorite, and then I have to like eat my words and support them again.
Yeah, if you watch the first one of this, there was the bit where Ewan said something like, I want to not be the Lithuanian fan this year. So yeah, maybe you're gonna have to buy some more flags.
Hmm. But yeah, those are our thoughts. So we're predicting Petunia. So we will also have a follow-up video after the show where we're discussing the final as well, because it's happening on the
The
15th
coming
of
Saturday, the
the
15th.
15th of February, from Žalgiris. And if you can get tickets, like, yay to you, because the Žalgiris Arena is amazing. Lithuanian finals are amazing, and I would definitely recommend it. Because we're also going to get to see Monica Liu and Valdis Bamala perform. So, yay. But yeah, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for joining me, kittens.
Thank you very much.
And we hope you have a lovely Lithuanian final. Bye.
Yeah, bye.